Hello everybody. Today we are going to have an insta stream in English, and as I announced yesterday, we are going to talk about what you need to study if you want to make stylized art and if you want to make realistic art. And usually it is always there are several programs, several things which are similar for both for realistic characters and for stylized, but of course there are something which differs, which we use only for stylization or only for realism. And actually it is pretty important, because to tell the truth, I realized that there are the programs which I actually don't need to know if I work in stylization, and I realized this, I think this year it just came to my mind, and then I also analyzed how other people think, and I think you have the same problem. Maybe it is very good if you don't have it. Before I start talking about these things, I want to say that this stream is going to be recorded and I'm going to save it, and it's going to be uploaded to my English speaking channel, which is Stylization Art. So you will be able to rewatch it there, or to watch it if you missed it here in Instagram. So let's talk about the things, the programs and the skills which you need to know if you want to be a character artist in stylization. If you want to be a character artist in stylization, then you need to learn basic programs and basic skills such as hard surface modeling, of course, sculpting, that means organic modeling, and for this we are using that brush. We can use Maya. Then retopology, UVs, texturing and rendering. And by now it's just in general, and all these points are also clear if you want to be an artist in realism. But there are some things which I want to mention. If you want to be a character artist in stylization, that means that you need to learn hand paint textures, how to make this hand painted textures. Because if you will analyze the market and you go to ArtStation, you would see that a lot of stylized art is or hand painted, or it is something in the middle between realism, between PBR and hand paint. And even from my personal experience, I can say that if you're making stylized art and if you're using substance painter or any PBR techniques, still you very often you use your knowledge about hand paint, and you paint not several parts, several areas, you make accents with this, your hand-painted skills. So if you want to be a stylized artist, then learning hand paint is important. And I know that very often people ignore this hand paint because it is difficult, and it's like the final stage of making characters, and maybe it is not that important, but yeah, it is very important. So I highly recommend to learn hand paint if you want to be a stylized artist. Same as rendering. Rendering is something what is not so much done by character artists when you work in studio, because usually they have separate artists who upload all the art to the engines, or the other people who render everything, for example in Arnold, or if it is not game dev. So it is not so important for being a 3D artist, but it is very much important if you want to add your art to your portfolio, and you do want to add your art to your portfolio. That's why I think it is pretty important to learn rendering. And when if you want to be like a game artist, it doesn't matter here stylization or realism, then I would recommend you to learn rendering in Marmoset, because it's real-time render, or in engines such as Unreal Engine. It is not so important to learn rendering in Arnold if you are not working. If you are working as a game art, then learning Arnold is like something what like extra, so it's something which is required. And why do you need to render your character in Arnold if you can render your game art in Unreal Engine or in Marmoset? And of course, about learning Maya or Blender, Blender has a lot of benefits. Maya, Blender, Cinema 4D, 3ds Max, and so on. Actually, you can learn Blender just because the software is free of charge, and if you live in like European American countries, and it is very costly to buy like Maya subscription, then you can use Blender because it's free of charge and you can just do your modeling there. But of course, I think it is important to learn Maya because like Maya is a standard of the industry, and there are a lot of things which you will need to do in Maya, and you need to know at least something, at least navigation or setting the materials, or just simple basic knowledge on Maya, how to model something there. Then yes, it's a good idea to learn Maya, at least to know how to do it. All the rest, like Cinema 4D, actually I don't know what you can do there, and well, I know that it's kind of a program for hard surface modeling, CMS, Maya, and all the rest programs, but I never ever saw it in the requirements from the vacancy in the job that they want you to know like Cinema 4D. Usually it is Maya, and even the 3ds Max right now not so much important. I think it is very outdated, and there are not so many companies which use the 3ds Max. And one more thing, so we talked about stylization, and if we talk about realism, so what is important to learn if you want to become a character artist in realism, 3D character artist, not 2D, then it is important that you will learn how to make hair with planes. Because if you look through all the realistic games, I don't know, Sekiro, God of War, all others, you will see that the hair is done with planes. And this is what you don't need to know. It's like not don't need to know, it's not obligatory to know if you want to become an artist in stylization. Because in stylization we are making hair with mesh, not with hair cards. And for the realism, you really need to know how to make hair with hair cards. And of course you need to learn Substance Painter. You will not have hand paint there because you will have like pure realism. And yeah, you need to learn how to work with Substance Painter, and maybe how create your own materials in Substance Designer, which would be also beneficial for you. And also I think it's a good idea to learn Marvelous Designer. Actually here I'm not sure about how often Marvelous Designer is used in games. I know that in stylization it is absolutely useless, but I think that in realism it can be useful when you need to make a clothes with a lot of realistic folds, and then you can simulate these folds in Marvelous Designer and then refine them in that brush. I think this is like a good way of fastening your work and like making it looking better and more believable. If we are talking when we are talking about folds in stylization, then it is impossible to simulate stylized folds or to then convert like that realistic folds into the stylized folds. But the main problem here is that you need to recreate the folds which you have in the concept in the same style, in the same position, and you are not able to simulate the folds the way they are on the concept. They will be different, and you need to make those folds which you see on the concept. That's why when you work in stylization, it is much more important to learn how to sculpt these folds, not simulating but sculpting. However, when we are talking about the realism, in realism, we can afford ourselves not being such a good sculptor of folds. Of course, we need to know how to do it, but like we can cheat by simulating these folds. So yeah, I think for the realism, learning marvelous designer can be beneficial. Same as, again, you need to learn hair cards for realism, learning texturing, and one more and again rendering. They have like same, you can render or in Marmoset toolbox 4 or in Unreal Engine, which like it is fair for both for stylization and for realism. And so as I said, you can see the difference when you work, like just to sum it up, you can see that when we work in realism, we need to learn like Maya, that brush, Realism would be very good because it is, I think, best program for everything, like for all kinds of UVs. It's like very useful and very good in use, and I learned it not long ago, and I can say that it is the best program for making UVs. So we are talking about Realism Maya, so the brush, Realism UV, Substance Painter, maybe Substance Designer to create your own materials, Marvelous Designer to simulate clothes, Fiber Shop for making hair, the textures for hair plates, and learning how to make hair cards. And I think I saw several tutorials on the YouTube how to make the hair cards with hands, like pure manually, and also I saw how to make hair cards out of X-Gen simulated hair. I never did. Like I did like many years ago, I tried to make hair cards, but right now already I don't have like enough experience in making hair cards, but I saw several tutorials and I showed these tutorials to my students, and they said that that was really nice. Next, when we're talking about stylization, again, I want to sum it up, and talking about stylization, we need to learn like Maya, that brush, Realism UV, Substance Painter, and 3D Code. 3D Code for hand paint is the best option, and for both of them we need to learn Marmoset. And actually learning Marmoset would be enough if you want to make some effects, like visual effects, or you want to learn how to make renders in Unreal Engine, because Unreal Engine gives us very good results. Then you can learn Unreal Engine. As for rigging is not that important. Rigging is important if you want to put your character in pose and put it on your art station, but you can do it without rigging. You can do it with Transpose Master in the brush, and it's not obligatory to learn rigging. If you want to learn rigging, then I think there are a lot of programs. Well, first of all, you can do it in Maya with different plugins. You can do it with Mixamo, you can do it with some artists, but again, it's like something which is not so obligatory. If you're talking about also, like I want to a little bit mention what you need to learn if you want to make characters for the films, for cinematics. Right now I've been talking only about the game dev, but if you want to learn characters for cinematics, then you need to learn, I think, Marie for texturing, to learn how to texture these XYZ textures. because Marie is perfect for texturing, for big textures, for heavy textures, for realistic textures, and in films it's used very often. So yeah, for films it's better to learn Marie, and to how to make hair, realistic hair. And realistic hair can be done in Maya with 6gen, with Ornatrix. And I have a friend who he is a hair artist, and he is making hair in Ornatrix, and he says that making hair is in Ornatrix is much easier, and much easier to control it when you make it in Ornatrix and not in XGen. I never tried Ornatrix, but I hate XGen, so difficult to control it. And of course you need to learn real rendering, not real time rendering. You need to learn physically based rendering. I don't know how you call this renders, like Arnold, that offline renders. That's absolutely not real time, not online, but I'm talking right now about these offline renders like Redshift, Arnold, V-Ray, and so on, because you will need to render them there. Maybe at work you will not have to render them, but to add your project to ArtStation, you need to know how to set up the materials and lightings and everything in these offline renders. This is pretty important. What else? And yes, I think for characters which are making for cinematics, for films, we need to the quality should be very, very high. When we are talking about game dev, of course, we always concerned about the quality. We try to make it the best as possible, but the thing that we are limited by the limitation, by the amount of polygons, and also by the resolution of textures, by the amount of textures. So we kind of balance between the quality, like the top quality, and between these limitations which we have. When we are talking about films and cinematics and cartoon, there we are not limited by the quality, because everything will be rendered in the offline renders, and it is okay that you will have heavy textures and you will have heavy characters with very complicated hairstyle. There it is okay. That's why there, like, the quality is the top thing, the top like requirement, which you need to make it best. In game dev, like, it is a little bit lower, just because we are limited by the amount of polygons, number of textures, resolution of these textures, and so on. So yes, I think this is it, what I wanted to speak about at our live stream here on Instagram. I want to remind you that this stream I will save it not on Instagram, I will save it on my YouTube channel, my English YouTube channel, which is Anissa Ginja Art, and this is my first English speaking stream here, and hope you like it. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask them right now. I will wait for several minutes to finish the stream, and if you had it, please let me know. Looks like you don't have any questions, or you feel a little bit shy. You can ask question in any language which I understand, among those which I understand, which is like English, Ukrainian, Russian, and Italian. You can ask question in any of these languages, but at this stream I will answer it in English. The next stream is think that it is not going to be on Monday. Usually it is on Monday. My Ukrainian speaking stream is on Mondays, but on Monday my 2 wisdom teeth are going to be extracted, so I don't think that I feel good for streaming. So your question, hi, thank you for everything. Thank you, thanks to you. How to improve sculpting skills? There are several variants. First of all, courses, mentors, sculpting more, and asking for the feedback. But anyway, it is like practicing a lot. But I'm pretty sure, and I'm confident saying that you need you need to find somebody who will give you adequate and good and qualified feedback. Otherwise, you will just multiply your mistakes if you will not receive the feedback. That's why, and like where you can receive the feedback, you can go to mentor, you can go to courses, you can go to where you can go. You can find a friend who is willing to help you, but really good artist, because otherwise you'll be like, his mistakes will be multiplied by your mistakes. That's why you need to find a good artist. By the way, I recently read like a post of very good artist. He has been working in Blizzard. His name is Renaud Galan, and I read that right now he provides mentoring. So maybe you can turn to him, because he's like perfect artist, and I know that he is one of the best artists, and long ago he gave feedback to me. Like many years ago, I just asked him for the feedback on the Facebook, and he gave me very long feedback with overpaint. So I can guarantee that he really very good as a mentor. Can you make a stream about what models are made in casual games? Character, object, is it only two variants, anatomy and modeling? Can you make a stream about what models are made in casual games? Casual games, I think you do the same models as you make in AAA games, but they are much more simplified, much more like the table for the casual game will be much more simple, will be simpler than a table for AAA games. So, and still, even there, you need to have like environments, you need to have characters. So, I think same is done. Okay. If you don't have any more questions, and it is already time to finish this small insta stream, which I'm going to upload to my YouTube channel, and I need to go back to work. And that means that I will see you soon. Hope very soon. Everything depends on how much pain I will have after extracting my wisdom teeth. Thanks God, it is going to be 2 last wisdom teeth. And see you soon. And thank you for watching this stream.